Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, host of our shooting program. We're so glad you could join us today. We have a great show for you. We're going out to the Whittington Center out in New Mexico. I think you're really going to enjoy that. We're going to take a quick look at a Delta Elite Colt in 10 millimeter. In fact, let's start today's program. You know, the 10 is, I think, a largely misunderstood cartridge, but with the carbine loading, it actually becomes a good, strong 357 Magnum. So let's open on a volunteer water bottle out here with our Delta Elite shooting a carbine 10 millimeter. Friends, we're going to look at a very fine gun today. This is a Colt Delta Elite in 10 millimeter, and this is a gun that is somewhat often overlooked, if you ask me. The 10 had quite a bit of flurry of activity when it first was announced a few years ago, but what a lot of people found, one, the 10 was supposed to be a 41 Magnum semi-automatic cartridge. Well, it really wasn't. And then, too, a lot of the guns that were chambered for the 10 were not accurate enough to be used at longer ranges for hunting. So it also had more recoil than the average person was used to, someone that had been shooting a 9 millimeter. Well, a 10 is a huge step up from a 9. It's just not the same thing at all. So what actually happened was the cartridge was downloaded, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment, comparing the 10 to the 40 S&W. That's what the 40 Smith & Wesson is, in fact, is a shortened 10. Now, it does have a different case. They're not interchangeable. The 40 is not a shortened 10 case because the 40 S&W uses a small pistol primer. The 10 uses a large pistol primer, but dimensionally speaking, on the outside, that's what it looks like, just a shortened, the 40 looks like a shortened 10 case. That is not the way it is. But these guns are very fine for someone who wants more power, say, than is commonly available in 45 ACP, but who likes the government model. I'm especially fond of the 1911 simply because I think the 1911 is the high watermark among all semi-automatic pistols. This is a Smith & Wesson 10 millimeter that we periodically have on the program, used for different things, and it's a very nice gun. It's a double action gun, harder to shoot on the first shot or so, and it has a different safety mechanism. Smith & Wesson is a good gun, but it's a little bit bigger, say, than the single action Colt. It's just a little bit bigger handgun, seems that way. The Colt is a very nice and powerful package for its size. Now, some of the first Deltas, I understand that some of the first Delta Elites did not stand up that well to constant pounding of the full power 10 millimeter cartridge. Well, of course, since the FBI came along and downloaded the 10 anyway, I would think it would shoot an indefinite number of the 10 millimeter lights, which are roughly equivalent to a 45 ACP or a lighter 45 ACP loading. However, I would treat this gun, one, it's not as much fun to shoot with the full power cartridge, to use downloads when you're out learning to use the gun, practicing with the guns, and then for real carry a load like the carbine, which is a 135 grain bullet at 1,400 feet per second, which is a serious, really makes it into a serious pistol caliber. The carbine loading is roughly equal to the 125 grain jacketed hollow point 357 Magnum round. So it's running along, the 357 Magnum runs along at about 1,450 feet per second. The 10 millimeter has 10 grains more bullet, just a little bit more bullet, running at 1,400, so they're roughly comparable. But for the sake of we're here and for comparison, let's take our 45 and watch in my hands the amount of recoil that the 45 does. Put my hearing protectors in, and for those of you that are new to watching the program, I always wear hearing protection. We don't come out here without eye and ear protection. We just don't want to do it. So take a look at the regular 45 ACP in my hand. See, the 45 just does not have a lot of recoil. Now then, let's move on over. It's one reason it's such a neat defensive or combat type cartridge, because it just doesn't have a lot of recoil. Now then, let's look at the 10 millimeter, essentially the same gun as a regular government model. Let's look at it in recoil with the full charge carbine ammunition. Quite a bit more recoil, quite a bit more upchuck there, but you're getting quite a bit more power too. So, and yes, it's a bunch louder. But in fact, let's take a closer look at our Delta Elite and its cartridge. Well, friends, we're looking here, we're going to compare the 10 millimeter, if I can hold it straight, to a 40 S&W. And of course, on the left, you have a 357 Magnum, which is a revolver cartridge. But you can see that the 10 is fatter than the 357. It's a true 40 caliber, and it's quite a bit longer than the 40 S&W. The 40 Smith & Wesson will never be able to equal a 10 simply because even though it's the same diameter, has the same, in many cases, the same bullet, you just don't have as much powder capacity in the 40 case. This, of course, is a Corbin 10. It is for real. It is equal to a good, strong 357 Magnum. A lot of people, when the 10 was first announced, compared it to a 41 Magnum. Well, it's really not. But in reality, the 10 is a very fine cartridge, one I think is often overlooked. Friends, taking a look, this is a departure from some of the other Colt models. You have a wraparound grip here. This is not an enhanced version, incidentally, but it does have a somewhat modified grip safety here, and you also have a ring type hammer similar to the Commander, which is going to prevent the gun from biting this part of your hand in recoil. Another difference that the 10 millimeter Delta Elite, and you can identify the deltas by this little triangle on the grip there. Another difference it has, instead of a single recoil spring in here, it has a dual recoil spring, because the recoil of the 10 millimeter is quite a bit more in the better loadings, quite a bit more than 45 ACP. It is, of course, a single action gun, operates just like the government model 45 that so many of us are used to. It has excellent 3-dot sights. And, of course, one of the things that Colt has not seen fit to do, that our friends at Gunsight have fixed, and so many of the custom gunsmiths, the front sights on all Colt semi-automatics like this, if you shoot them enough, they will loosen up. Now, this one, Colt has improved it a little bit in the last few years, but why in the world they won't just fix it, I don't know. But anyway, it's easily fixed by a gunsmith. That's not really a problem. These are very fine pieces of machinery. Operates just like the 1911. And we have our magazine here, which is similar to a 38 Super magazine, in fact, with the groove here, but this one holds 8 in the magazine instead of 7, which is your 45s do. You have a little more room because you just don't have as big a cartridge. Well, we'll insert it in the base of the gun like so. Be sure it's in all the way. And folks, remember how you load these things. Push your safety finger off the trigger, pull the slide all the way to the rear, and let it go. That's how it's supposed to work. Well, let's take a shot out here at our water bottle at about 20 yards and see what it looks like. Friends, I tell you what, the good people at Britton's have loaned us this Delta Elite, and I don't worry too much about, I'm sure it would take thousands of full power rounds, and if you are worried about it, and you're going to be shooting a full power 10 millimeter cartridge, all you have to do is put a stiffer recoil spring in it. Some people like the shock buffers that are available from several different companies, and that's just up to you. The Hart's recoil reducer would be something else to think about. You can certainly port the gun, but really, I don't think it kicks any worse than a 357 Magnum revolver. It is, again, a very compact package for what it is. So the 10 millimeter Delta Elite, it definitely has power when you need it. Yes. And we have another water bottle. We have another water bottle that won't be a threat to anyone. So anyway, the Delta Elite certainly is a very fine and powerful gun, one that if you like powerful semi-automatic pistols, well, this is one you should take a look at.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
If you are a boater or a birder, if you ever carry a camera, Bi-Tote is for you. It is the most comfortable binocular and camera carrier on the market today. And its all-elastic quick change feature makes it possible to switch from one piece of equipment to another without missing a beat. If you think that carrying binoculars or cameras is a pain in the neck, try Bi-Tote. For the first time, your equipment will feel almost weightless, and you'll be free of that annoying swinging and bouncing which is hard on your body as well as the equipment, especially when you're negotiating rough terrain or on a pitching boat. One hand for you, one hand for the boat, and Bi-Tote for your binoculars or camera. They'll be ready for you instantly, held firmly in position. They're always there, not buried in a locker or other out-of-the-way place. And the Bi-Tote is totally adjustable for a custom fit. All necessary adapters and complete instructions are included with your Bi-Tote. How did you ever get along without it?
So, Johnny, how's your diet going?
Now, Catherine, we've covered this before, and I'm really not on a diet. I'm on a weight management program through our health club. And trust me on this one, and yes, I'm still on it, and yes, I still got some work to do, but I've come a long way, and friends, I tell you what, this is one of the greatest things we have to offer. You know, I've tried diets in the past, because I would eat every hour on the hour if I could stay awake 24 hours a day. I mean, I could eat for sport, and I know I'm not the only one. And the thing is that our weight management program, you're not hungry all the time, you're not weak, and those of you who've never gained weight or never wanted to lose weight don't have a clue what we're talking about. But those of you that do, you know exactly what I'm saying, because it is so hard to diet. A lot of people now do not get enough exercise. They have to sit in offices. They have to stay indoors. And this weight management program is absolutely fantastic because it helps you get the weight off, and not only that, it'll help you keep it off. Friends, don't delay. Our health club is absolutely, these products are the best that I have ever seen, ever encountered. If you just want to feel better, if you want to be healthier, certainly our health club. If you want to lose that weight, give us a call on our weight management system, 1-800-895-7916. Don't put it off. Do it today. For health club information, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name, address, and phone number. Someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Friends, this is such a wonderful thing. Do it for yourselves today.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in the office today with none other than Colonel Bob Brown himself, the head man and spokesperson, organizer, founder, and chief cook and bottle washer at Soldier Fortune magazine, also a good friend of ours. And Bob, we just a few weeks ago we were at your convention in Las Vegas, and we received such a nice response from our viewing audience. It seems like our people really are fascinated with what you do.
Well, it was a very interesting convention, primarily because we celebrated our 20th anniversary of Soldier Fortune magazine. It was a good convention. We had a lot of people show up, as we always do. Of course, the highlight was having Gordon Liddy as our keynote speaker, and he got everybody's attention. And he had been our speaker twice before in years past. Once as the main keynote speaker way back in 1983, and then in 82, we had him along with General Westmoreland. We had General Westmoreland one year as a convention keynote speaker, so we knew that the audience would respond positively to him, and they did. So it was very positive.
Well, I certainly enjoyed Gordon's speech. Of course, you have seminars at the convention, and really it's not too early to be talking about this now for next year, is it?
Not. We also have a three-gun match that runs concurrently with a large portion of the convention, and we have 225 shooters. We fill that match up by March,
Right.
even though the convention doesn't take place for another 6 months. But we can always accommodate more conventioneers. That's not a problem. But if somebody wants to shoot in the match, we got to get in and get their space reserved, because we always turn people away, and we just can't handle anymore. The ranges are set up. The number of range officers that we have limit the number of shooters we can handle.
So that is a suggestion, and it is a terrific match. They have some really great prizes, and plus just getting to be there during the week is enough of a reward for itself. So we would really suggest, if you want to compete in that match, and we do have a good number of competition shooters that watch this program, so we would encourage you to do that as quickly as possible.
They should drop a line postcard to Care of Soldier of Fortune, Box 693, Boulder, Colorado, 80306. And ask for information. We'll get it to them.
Well, that's. I'm glad we thought of that. And today, looking around your office, you have friends. Trust me, there are quite a number of interesting mementos. And you're more of a souvenir person than a collector. Is that right?
I'm not an obsessive collector. For instance, I collect knives, but I don't spend all my time doing it. And we discussed earlier, I collect these Afghan war rugs, which were manufactured or woven, if you will, by the Afghans during the war. They just catch my eye. If I see something I like, I get it. If I don't see something there, then I don't. So it's I would say I'm what should I say, a indifferent collector.
Well, it is. Trust me, folks. It is very interesting. Bob is one of those people that has had more hair-raising or experiences, I guess you'd call it, than most of us ever will. And he's remained. You're very matter of fact, very down to earth. Probably you're more rational. You're in better touch with reality, I think.
Rational? A lot of people would argue that.
Well, this is true. I mean, based in reality here, because a lot of things that are important and a lot of things aren't. You and I were talking about how many friends we've lost in this year. 1995 has been a difficult year for us, hasn't it?
Very difficult. Yes, it has. As you know, we lost one of our staff writers, was killed in action over in Sierra Leone. A superb man and excellent combat troop that had been a soldier of fortune or mercenary, if you will, or foreign volunteer for years. And his time just came, and it was one of these very unfortunate accidents. But you buy your ticket and take your chance. And of course, the most, I suppose, venturesome project we were involved in was in August, when we went to Croatia. We took in a truckload of Scott air packs, which are used by firemen. When we took in 20 of them, as well as $10,000 of very hard to get anesthesia medications into Sarajevo. We were the first truck that got across the airstrip in 5 months. We thought, since we didn't get fired up going across, we thought, well, we could go ahead and then bring this other fire truck that was disabled back across the airstrip. So we sent 3 of the guys back. They hooked up the fire truck. They're coming back. The one young man in the seat next to the driver, just God must have been talking to him, because he picked up a bulletproof vest and held it like this, where we knew where the Serb snipers were shooting from. They took 7 rounds into the cab, and one of the rounds was 1/4 inch, about that far from the edge of the vest. If he had not been holding that vest up, he'd have bought the farm. So, but we got the truck back in, and then on the way out, we got fired up. We were detained, and we're getting 50 caliber rounds overhead, and it was that's a short story.
Yeah,
but
sure.
we got out. We accomplished our mission. We got in the firefighting equipment, the medications, got in, got out. Nobody got killed. Nobody got wounded, and so it got the adrenaline pumping for about 72 hours.
I would imagine so. You know, friends, a lot of people aren't aware of the humanitarian things that Bob and Soldier Fortune has done for these many years, and a lot of people around the world owe their very lives to the efforts of this man and some of the people that he works with. And it would be very difficult. We don't have enough time today to sit here and go over a lot of that, but they are certainly deserving of a tremendous amount of respect and courage, respect for their courage, because they're definitely not short on courage. Well, sir, we're very, very pleased about your anniversary. I'm glad we could come by and see you. You know,
I'll come down your neck of the woods.
Well, I hope you do. And I don't know if my office would not be quite as entertaining as yours.
But you haven't been around as long as I have, Johnny.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I certainly wish you many, many years of continued success. And we certainly intend to do anything we can with our program. If you need a promotion, well, sir, we'll be there for you. Remember, folks, this man gave us our shooting show, our very first national promo. When nobody else would talk to us, they did, and we'll be forever in their debt for that. So anyway, Bob, thank you.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
See you sooner than later, we hope.
Right.
You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program. You'll recognize my esteemed colleague here, Leroy Scott. Sir, you all decked out today. What you all dressed up for? You been to court?
Uniform of the day.
Uniform of the day. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, I guess.
Well, I know you got a little info there for us.
I sure had a nice time over the 4-day holiday, I can tell you that.
That's true. We hope everyone had a very nice and safe and healthy Thanksgiving. I think all of us, I survived. That's about all I can say. I survived the highway trip. What?
That's the truth. All right. As usual, I'm heavy on the subject of politics.
That's okay.
The NRA finally found out that Mike Foster, our new Republican governor, trounced his anti-gun Democrat in a landslide vote in Louisiana on the, what did you say it was, the 17th?
The 18th, I believe.
The 18th? I thought it was before that. Anyhow, the election was on the opening day of hunting season,
Yeah.
and Fields probably figured that a lot of the pro-gun vote would be out hunting instead of voting, but the absentee vote was the largest we've ever had.
Well, I guess so. Heck, I
And
voted
that's-
absentee.
Well, I did too.
Well, both of us did.
It's interesting, and this is the first time that I have found anybody saying this. You know, the Democrats screamed and hollered about the gubernatorial election in Kentucky
Right,
and how a Democrat won it,
right,
said that heralded the end of the Republican Revolution.
right.
Well,
Not quite.
it didn't quite work that way. The governor-elect's position, that's Patton, Paul Patton in Kentucky, his position on gun control is pretty solidly with ours. Unlike Bill Clinton, Patton supports the Second Amendment, including the right of law-abiding citizens to carry firearms, and is the owner of several firearms himself. During the campaign, he pledged not to support Clinton for re-election.
Oh, the man
Wow.
can't be all bad. He
No, he's
cannot
not
be
all
all bad.
And then asked if he would be active in backing the president in 1996. He said, well, we've got a little problem there.
Well, good for him.
Right to carry legislation is already proposed in the General Assembly of Kentucky, and NRA says we'll keep you posted. National right to carry bill introduced in Congress. Representative Cliff Stearns, Republican of Florida, House Resolution 2634, been co-supported by Representative Hostetler, H-O-S-T-E-T-T-L-E-R, Hostetler, Republican of Indiana, have introduced a bill to allow persons to carry firearms on their person in all 50 states, provided they have a permit from one state.
From one state.
From
That
any
would
one
be
state.
terrific. That would absolutely. You know, I was talking with a trucker over the weekend, and he had been up in New York City, and we have a lot of viewers in New York City, and friends, we do appreciate you, but you know that you have some very oppressive gun laws in New York. And he was robbed. He stepped outside his rig on the street there, and a man walked up, put a gun in his back, and robbed him. Well, they called the police, and the policeman just said, well, look, I mean, that's the way it is, so what? But if he had had a gun to defend himself, he would have gone to jail for, what, an automatic 1 year?
That's a felony in New York.
In New York. So it's terrible what some of the laws are. I heard about another a trucker in New Jersey
that had a firearm in his truck, and he had a wreck in the truck. Well, as I understand it, the police found the gun in his truck and came to the hospital and arrested him. And he had been robbed and beaten up by some people earlier, and he was carrying a gun for protection.
You know, that gives new credence to the Lyndon Johnson claim. It never was Barry Goldwater's claim, but Lyndon Johnson had a TV commercial showing Barry sawing off the eastern seaboard and letting it float out to sea.
Well, we just like to give a lot of those people who some of these loony politicians and some of these people that don't have a clue, we need to give them to some other country if they just go. The socialists, and of course we know there are a lot of very, very fine people on the eastern seaboard. We have some of our strongest supporters up there, but we'd like to give them Washington, D.C., wouldn't we?
What do you think the most dangerous outdoor sport is?
Jogging?
Well,
I'm guessing. I don't know. What is it?
Well, let's take some. What do you think about fishermen? What do you think about golfers? What do you think about bicyclists? And what do you think about hunters? Now rank those. And what you think it might be. Don't look on my notes.
Well, I'm looking at what you said. I'm not going to say bicyclists, fishermen, and golfers.
Right.
Well,
and hunters.
I would think that bicycles would probably be in first place as far as accidents. Probably fishermen second, golfers third, and hunters dead last.
You cheated. You looked at my
No,
list.
I didn't. I really did. I just, you know.
Well, let's see how far they are. 905 of every 100,000 bicyclists sustained injuries requiring hospital treatment. Then second, we had fishermen, 141 out of 100,000. Golfers, 104 out of 100,000. And hunters were 8 out of every 100,000. Only 8.
Not even comparable. Not even in the same running.
Different order of magnitude.
You know, Carrie, I think it's as important for you ladies to know how to use these firearms as it is for us men. But you know, there's something else. We can have firearms for defense of our homes and certainly for sport, but we also need information.
Yes, I agree. I think the New American Magazine is the best source of information available in this country.
Well, I would certainly agree. The New American Magazine is the truth and nothing but the truth. And friends, if you would like to know what is really going on in this country and around the world, if you want, in fact, the truth, well, you need to get the New American Magazine. So here's how to do it. You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE, and those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month. Now, friends, with your new Shootin' Show subscription, they will also send you a free copy of what the United Nations is bringing to all of us. So this is very important. Subscribe today. You know, friends, in times like these, which indeed are strange times, we certainly need our firearms, but we also need the information about what's really going on. Order today.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbin Ammunition, Corbin Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbin ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbin, information on their product line, call them. Corbin Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbine is the best there is.
You know, Judge, speaking of hunting, hunting is absolutely one of the safest and healthiest sports. And also, in game management, it's one of the most important things that people do. And that's something that's often overlooked.
Well, it probably is, Johnny. As you know, I'm not a hunter. But it is interesting that it's down at the bottom of the list of danger. Now, we have in Michigan, there's a committee on the, there's a subcommittee hearing on a rule to support a right to carry, or a shall issue reform bill.
Mm-hmm.
In Pennsylvania, there's some NRA-supported technical amendments to their laws. I guess this gets down to something I talked to you about, Johnny.
What's that?
You found out something on your trip.
I did. I was thinking about that. Glad you brought that up. You know, friends, the government is looking for all ways to intrude into our lives and all manner of ways to snoop. They now, among the State Department, some of the people want to have permission to go at random into your computers at home, that clipper chip that so it can't be encrypted, all sorts of things. They want to listen to your phone conversations. Well, guess what? We found out about another little goodie they've got. And some of the government agencies, as we understand now, are using this. I found out on my trip there was a checkpoint out for on interstate, one of the interstates that I was on out in the west, and come to find out, as I understand it, the way that the police check on what a car may be carrying is they have a laser that will hit the window of the car, and instead of a rangefinder, the laser becomes a listening device. As we understand, now some of you out there may know more about this. I heard this from two different sources. That so they'll home in on a car coming down the road and listen to conversation. Now they can do this in an office or in a home or anywhere you might be. You may be thinking you're having a private conversation, but they've got listening devices that will reach way out there.
Well, now, Johnny, the laser is not a listening device. What happens is the laser...
The signal comes back.
The laser is on a window. People in the car talking. The sound waves strike the window, and
Right.
some of it causes the window to vibrate a little bit.
Exactly.
The laser picks that vibration up, and the reflected laser beam
Will
enables them to listen to what's going on in the car. I know that is being used probably for the purpose of detecting narcotics and so forth, but it's also a gross intrusion of privacy. I am horrified at the fact that they can do that not only to a moving automobile, but to a home. Reflect a laser off one of your windows and hear everything that's going on in the house. I think that's just a horrible intrusion, a gross intrusion of privacy. And this gets down to something that you had me read a few minutes ago, something I have always been acutely aware of. You know, the form of government in the United States is not a democracy.
Never was.
It wasn't intended to be a democracy. It's not a democracy. It's been perverted into becoming a democracy. It's a republic. And that was the famous words that Benjamin Franklin told the lady as he emerged from the Constitutional Convention, when she asked him, "What have you given us?" And he said, "A republic if you can keep it."
Well, briefly, for those of you who don't really understand, essentially, in a very small nutshell, a democracy is essentially mob rule. Am I correct? Like the French Revolution, they had a mob literally executing all those people. It was mob rule. And friends, you know, there are all kinds of mobs, and I've never heard of one that acted properly most of the time. But what we have is a representative form of government where the people can elect representatives to consider things and put thought into, hopefully the better people in the population. We've certainly got off track on that. But that's what a
republic is. Am I correct?
That is what a republic is, and there's an article here that says there's never been a democracy in the history of the world that hasn't committed suicide.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what it is. They commit suicide because eventually the have-nots replace the haves, divide up what the haves had, and then they can't run it.
Right. So everybody has nothing.
And so nobody has anything. That's right.
Can I show our bumper sticker here?
Yeah, I guess
This
you
is,
should
let's see if we can home in on this, if we can. This is our Clinton bumper. I got this out in Arizona the other day, and it has Clinton with the old hammer and sickle there. It says red for his desire to socialize America, yellow for his cowardice. So I thought that was pretty neat there. We do have a few of these if you'd like to have one. We do have a few. I think we got 20 or 30 that a friend of ours gave us out there. And I'll tell you what, friends, there's some information out on it. It is really frightening to have someone like Bill Clinton in the White House, because they will actually, these people in Washington, in the current administration, a lot of them are amoral. They have no morals. They don't care.
He protested the Vietnam War because he said it was a civil war, and we didn't have anybody taking sides in it. I don't know what else were his reasons, if any.
Want to protect his hide, probably.
Very likely. He retreated to England and then to Russia. And I'm concerned about anybody that protests the war that much and then wants to get us into the middle of a civil war.
Which is, in fact, in Bosnia.
That's exactly what's happening in Bosnia. I'm horrified at the thought of 20,000 American troops being over there for no telling how long. Everybody says at least a year. We can expect some casualties.
Mm. But what could you tell me what national interest we have over there? I mean, I'd like to know. Tell all of America here. What
Well,
national
I don't think we've got any national interest over there. Of course, we have an interest in seeing that those Balkan states don't start another world war. But it takes two to tango, and if none of the other major powers get involved in it, and they ought to keep their cotton-picking hands off of it, then there wouldn't be any danger of the thing escalating that way.
Well, isn't it one of the problems is that the Bosnians, the Muslims, could not buy arms, that the Serbians got all the arms when the country split up, and the United Nations and a lot of these European countries resisted selling the Bosnians proper arms. Isn't that true? I heard Margaret Thatcher say that.
Well, the United States was at the head of the list. That was part of the idea of some of the Republicans to go, most of the Republicans, I think, to go ahead and let the Bosnians defend themselves.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to go over there and try to keep peace between. Have you ever tried to keep peace between two people?
It's very, very. They just wait till you leave and then they go at it again.
Well, now in my practice of law, I used to handle a lot of divorces. I've graduated beyond that now. I've just decided that that's an area of law I don't want to occupy. It's not that I'm opposed to divorce. I'm just opposed to excessive fighting. But I found that if you tried to make peace between a husband and a wife, the first thing you knew, they'd made peace and they were both mad at you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen with us. We're going to try to maintain peace over there, and we're going to end up getting both sides mad at us.
Mm-hmm. So we may get a number of young American men killed.
More likely than not.
For nothing.
More likely than not. I'm dead set against it. Incidentally, the local newspaper had a poll on it, and it was overwhelming negative.
Don't send troops.
Don't send troops over there. I mean, overwhelming, like 85, 90% saying no. And I echoed that same sentiment. Well, what else you got, Johnny?
Well, sir, that'll wrap it up for this week. I mean, we could go on for days, but we'll certainly keep a political watch here. And friends, the battle is ongoing, and our opponents, our opposition, the people who want to disarm us, the people who want to socialize this country, they are not going to stop They have to be defeated continuously.
Oh, Johnny, you saw the letter that came from one of our viewers congratulating me on some of the political things I've had to say and suggesting that I'm probably on the 4-star triple S list of the New World Order.
Well, yeah, I think they probably have our addresses by now, but that's okay. You know, we're going to stand up to them, and we're going to do it as long as we possibly can. Absolutely. We're going to, and a lot of you out there feel just the same way, and we do appreciate all our support, and we appreciate all our mail. So, you know, like I said recently, just, hey, stay tuned. We're in it. You know, there is no alternative. We cannot accept what the other side is offering. We will not accept what the other side is.
Get your hands off that gun, bow, or fishing rod. Holding onto your equipment while you're going through the woods or climbing a hill is fatiguing and possibly dangerous. The versatile Tri-Tote all-season carrier is easy to use. You never have to drill a hole in your fine gun stock. And the Tri-Tote can be set up for your specific needs in a jiffy. Just follow the illustrated instructions and free demo video enclosed. There you are, hands-free, yet ready to shoot in an instant. Hunting and fishing have never been more enjoyable. With Tri-Tote, your equipment is secure and your hands are free to support yourself or carry other gear. How did you ever get along without Tri-Tote? Make this year's hunting and fishing the best ever. To order your Tri-Tote at this special TV price, call toll-free 1-800-231-1443. That's 1-800-231-1443.
So, Johnny, how's your diet going?
Now, Catherine, we've covered this before, and I'm really not on a diet. I'm on a weight management program through our health club. And trust me on this one, and yes, I'm still on it, and yes, I still got some work to do, but I've come a long way, and friends, I tell you what, this is one of the greatest things we have to offer. You know, I've tried diets in the past, because I would eat every hour on the hour if I could stay awake 24 hours a day. I mean, I enjoy it. I could eat for sport. I know I'm not the only one. And the thing is that our weight management program, you're not hungry all the time, you're not weak, and those of you who've never gained weight or never wanted to lose weight don't have a clue what we're talking about. But those of you that do, you know exactly what I'm saying, because it is so hard to diet. A lot of people now do not get enough exercise. They have to sit in offices. They have to stay indoors. And this weight management program is absolutely fantastic because it helps you get the weight off, and not only that, it'll help you keep it off. Friends, don't delay. Our health club is absolutely, these products are the best that I have ever seen, ever encountered. If you just want to feel better, if you want to be healthier, certainly our health club. If you want to lose that weight, give us a call on our weight management system, 1-800-895-7916. Don't put it off. Do it today. For health club information, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name, address, and phone number. Someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Friends, this is such a wonderful thing. Do it for yourselves today. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're out here in one of the neatest places that we've ever come across during our entire project here with our shooting program. And this young man is named Brad Shootin. Did I say that right, Brad?
Sure.
And Brad, of course, works here at the NRA Whittington Center, and this is just a few miles south of Raton. Not Raton, but Raton, New Mexico. That's how the locals say it, so I'll trust them.
But this is a fabulous location, a tremendous amount of acreage. And Brad, let me ask you one or two things here. One, the NRA Whittington Center is open to NRA members. They can come here and shoot and compete.
Yes, sir. The facility is set up and basically owned and operated by the Special Contribution Fund, and everything that we do here at the center is strictly on voluntary contribution from the NRA membership. And the center is open virtually year-round to those NRA members for their use.
Now, you said you were closed on Christmas and New Year's?
Christmas and New Year's are really the only 2 days of the year we're closed, and the rest of the time it's open for use by membership.
Now, here in New Mexico, let's do one more thing about the location here. The weather is really not that drastic here. You don't get a lot of snow. You get some. You don't have that. It doesn't get that hot in the summer. Doesn't get that cold in the winter.
It doesn't get extremely cold, and we can have wind, rain, shine pretty much all on the same day. But the weather here is really moderate, and it's really pretty conducive to the shooting competitions that we do.
Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you folks having us out here today, so we're going to go through and look at some of the ranges, because that's really, it's not just one range. You have a number of different facilities here, so let's take a tour, and you show us just sort of what this thing's about. How about that?
I'd be glad to.
Well, friends, we're standing here in front of the Shotgun Shooting Center. Is that right, Brad?
Correct.
Now, what's going on over here today? Tell us.
What we've got going on here today, Johnny, is we've got a hunt briefing. We've got one of our membership drawing hunts for NRA members. And we'll bring those hunters in and go through about a 3 or 4 hour hunt orientation on the center and game and fish laws for New Mexico, and get them all lined out on what they need to do and not do and those kind of things. And explain to them what the center's about. So they're going through that hunt briefing this morning. That'll finish about noon. They'll take them out and get their rifles sighted in, and then they'll turn them loose in an area and let them scout around and find a deer, and season opens in the morning.
Well, all right. Well, I am so impressed, one, just driving around this place. I guess this is one of the most historic places in the Southwest, I guess, right in this area, huh?
The Old West really kind of lived right here. The Santa Fe Trail crosses the property right down the road from us here. In the background here, you can see Red River Peak, and that was the first visual landmark that people on the Santa Fe Trail saw when they came over the Raton Pass. The Santa Fe Trail goes on down to Cimarron, west of us here, and that's the site of the St. James Hotel. And anybody that came through this part of the country back in the 1800s pretty much visited the St. James Hotel.
Well, are you saying the St. James Hotel was kind of the social center of the...
It was. If I recollect right, it was the first place west of the Mississippi that had hot and cold water. You can still go down there and count bullet holes in the ceiling. Billy
Well, now,
the
wait a
Kid.
minute. You know, we've stayed in some motels on our budget with this program. We've stayed in some hotels that still didn't have hot and cold water. You know, you're lucky if you got water at all. Well, I tell you, it is great. Now, we're going to go around and we're going to show... Now, what all do you do here at the Shotgun Center? You have...
The Shotgun Center here is comprised of 10 trap houses. We've got one international trap house. We've got our skeet ranges off over behind my shoulder here, you can see. And then down over the hill, we've got a sporting clays tower. So we cover virtually all the shotgun shooting events that are currently done today. Now, last year we held the ATA, American Trap Shooting Association, Southwestern Zone Shoot here. Next year we'll hold the New Mexico State Championship Amateur Trap Shooting Association.
Well, now let's touch on the Whittington Center. I heard someone say a while back that the Whittington Center was the best kept secret of the NRA. Is that, I don't know if you probably wouldn't say that, but I heard someone, because really, as long as we've been around, associated, Bobby is, of course, a life member, and we've been associated with NRA all these years, and honestly, I feel a little bit ignorant. I mean, after seeing what you folks have out here, I just had no clue as to the magnitude. One, you have about 45,000 acres available.
Yeah, we've got 33,000 acres that is ours, and then we've got some additional that we hunt on, so it comprises about 45,000 acres that we utilize.
Well, folks, that's a lot of land. I mean, 40,000, I mean, you can go out throwing rocks, and I mean, you can throw a long way on 45,000 acres. And plus, of course, the original idea was so you could have a range where a live round wouldn't get out. Is that?
Historically, across the range, or across the country, ranges have been closed down, one because of urban expansion. Noise abatement is a problem, and then safety concerns. And so when the NRA looked for a piece of property to build this on, they were looking for something that was surrounded by a large enough chunk of land that we could always be good neighbors. Noise would not be a problem, and any round fired from any range in the Whittington Center
wouldn't get out.
Cannot exit our property.
Well, I want to put in a plug for the local area, and we're going to be talking at different times during this piece about the local area. But we spent last night in Raton, and people were here are so friendly. We've been out here for I guess back and forth a couple of days now on this particular trip, and I don't think you could find a more hospitable area.
The old Southwest and historically through the West, people are pretty friendly. Raton is exceptionally so, and a lot of the reason we're here is because this town wanted us here. The state of New Mexico wanted us here. We mean quite a bit to the community of Raton, and they mean quite a bit to us, and we've got a very good relationship with those people.
Well, how long has the Whittington Center been here?
The Whittington Center, the property was purchased in 1973, so we've been here a little over 20 years. Most of the development you see, virtually everything that's here, has been done since about 1986.
Well, and we would like to add that the government actually hadn't spent a dime here. The U.S. government, this is strictly done by the NRA and members.
Everything
and promotional
here
things.
is funded entirely by membership donations. I mean, we don't get any funding from back east. We're kind of a separate entity out here, and it's entirely the membership is what made this possible.
Now, when people come out, I want to say this before I forget. When competitors come out to shoot here, of course, you have all kinds. You have everything from IPSC matches. You have a rendezvous here of black powder. Now you're featuring hunts, and for members can apply for a hunt permit here. I mean, some of these are drawings and all, but you also have some of the best. You have guide service here that is as good as anywhere in the western U.S. Am I right?
We run two types of hunts, and that's the membership drawing hunts for NRA members. Those applications will come out in the May issue of the Rifleman and the Hunter, and they send in their application, and then it's done by a computer select drawing. Then we also have our guided hunts that we do, and those are on a first-come, first-served basis. Those guided hunts are for elk, mule deer, mountain lion, and bear.
Well, now we were talking about that personally. I'm not a big mountain lion fan. I would hunt mountain lions. I'm not. I'm more into shooting than hunting. I certainly enjoy doing some hunting, but to me, a mountain lion is a creature that just deserves to be hunted. Kind of like rattlesnakes, you know what I mean? The more of them we can get, I think the better off we are.
Well, what you're looking at with an adult lion, they can have quite an impact on your deer population. An adult lion will take a deer a week. Now,
no kidding.
They're here for a reason. God put them on this earth for a reason.
A lot of stuff we don't understand.
But it's like everything else. You can get once they get to carrying capacity and exceed that, then you need to do something because they start having an adverse effect on something else, such as a deer herd.
Well, my own feeling is, friends, let's hunt more mountain lion. I mean, well, we're going to take a look around here, and Brad's going to show us some of the shotgun facilities. So why don't we just go and do that?
Okay, let's go.
All right. Well, Brad, tell us where we are right now.
Right now, we're standing on one of the skeet ranges. We've got two. And to my left here, we've got the high house, and off to the right is the low house. In front of us, we've got one of our trap houses. And they build them this way because you can save a lot on construction. You can use the same basic format for your trap house with your 5 shooting stations, and then incorporate your skeet range over the top of it with the 8 stations they shoot on the skeet range. So it's kind of a dual-purpose facility right here.
Well, now, friends, you've heard me say so many times about places to shoot. This is what is so important. You know, if you have a gun at home, and one thing, and I really do want to applaud these folks on this, they encourage handgun shooting. They have IPSC matches, all sorts of things. Now, you were telling me that the new Shootin Fest, which is sponsored by Coors Beer, which is a major shooting event. It's an old, primarily black powder single shots. Am I right?
Yes, it's all breech-seated bullets. The shooter will shoot the same case all through a match. They knock the primer out and reload it, and breech-seat their bullet, and then push the
reloaded on the spot, friends.
Right there on the bench, and drop the powder charge back in that same case, and ease it in behind the bullet, and close the action and shoot it. That came about a couple of years ago with the building of the Coors range, and we'll see that a little later today. But right now, we're working also with that. With that addition, we've been able to go to the bench rest shooters. And right now, that range is probably the largest bench rest range in the country. We've got 75 permanent benches, all under a covered firing line.
Now then, let's touch on a few things that you do. One, you have IPSC shooting here.
Correct.
You have cowboy shooting matches.
Cowboy action shooting. We've got cowboy silhouette matches. We'll have the National Black Powder Cartridge Rifle Championship, which is probably one of the largest silhouette championships in the country. We'll have high power nationals. In '97, we'll have small bore silhouette and high power and long range pistol national championships. Those are all silhouette matches.
Well, obviously you're the largest professional range in the United States. Now tell me, Brad, where, I see a range back over here, where are we standing?
Right now we're standing in the RV campground. We've got 49 complete hookups, and back behind, we'll look at it here in a little bit, we've got a complete bathhouse with a washer and dryer in it and shower stalls. The two ranges we can see out here in front of us, John, are the long-range pistol silhouette and the police pistol combat range, PPC range. We'll conduct monthly matches, cowboy silhouette matches on the long-range pistol.
Well, that's something you talk about, cowboy silhouette. The cowboy matches are really growing, aren't they?
Well, you've got the cowboy matches, they're the Old West where they dress up in costume, and really a neat family activity. John, what we've got over there is our cabin row, I guess, for lack of a better term. Those cabins were primarily built for that Youth Adventure Camp program and the National Youth Hunter Education Challenge. We're standing here on the high-power rifle range, 1,000-yard range. We're on the 1,000-yard line. This range was built and finished and completed in 1992 for the International Palma matches. They had teams here from several different countries, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the United States. We also conduct our local division of civilian marksmanship matches here, and this is also the site of the 50 caliber national championships. The 50 caliber BMGs is kind of a unique event and is very, very different in the type of technology and the shooting they do. We have expanded that now from just the nationals on an annual basis to a couple of regionals each year as more and more shooters come into that sport. John, the range we're looking at there is the Coors Schützenfest range. That range was built 2 years ago with kind of a joint effort between the International Single Shot Shooters Association and Coors Brewery. The National Bench Rest Shooters Association has gotten involved in it. That right now, I believe, is the largest bench rest range in the nation. We've got 75 permanent concrete benches, all under a covered firing line. We've got firing points at 100, 200, 300 yards. That range was built primarily for the Coors Schützenfest, as we talked about earlier. That's an old German event that was started and kind of ran by the Coors Brewery in Golden, Colorado. They lost their range up there several years ago. The range just beyond the Coors range is the black powder range. That's for muzzle-loading black powder. We've got paper targets out to 100 yards, and then we've got some steel gong silhouettes out to about 200 yards. We'll hold club matches there. We'll have different groups come in and hold either a regional or a state match. Black powder is really kind of an interesting event because it goes back to the old traditional style of shooting, and it's kind of neat. That's another one of those that's really neat to look at the gear and the equipment and how they dress, and just back to old traditions and away from some of the technology.